We continue in our series in Revelation, and we look at chapter 13, which is an interesting chapter, and it's been misunderstood by many over the years, and it's even gone into common use in the secular world. Many films and books made about it, books written about this chapter, in particular 666 and the Antichrist, and many misunderstandings and misrepresentations of this text. But we want to look at this text this morning ourselves and try and gain something from the imagery that is shown to us in the text. Now, we're introduced to two striking symbolic beasts, one rising from the sea and the other from the earth. Now, before we identify what these beasts are, we must examine, first of all, their descriptions and do it very carefully. By doing so, we will avoid going into error and grasp the meaning of each of those symbols presented in the symbols themselves of the beasts. Each beast has something about them which is symbolic as well. There's a symbolic beast with symbolic imagery around it. And we want to think about two aspects, as we said. First of all, the beast from the sea, and then the beast from the earth. Now, John is presented as standing upon the sea, and he sees a strange beast rising out of the sea. It's like you going out to the Atlantic Ocean by the seaside or the beach, and you see this strange beast rising up out of the sea. And this beast is described as having 7 heads and 10 horns. And on its horns are 10 crowns. And we're told that its heads has blasphemy on it, like a label. Each head is labeled blasphemy. Quite a strange picture that is. And also the beast itself bears a resemblance to creatures of the earth. It bears a resemblance to a leopard, we're told. And this leopard-like beast has the feet of a bear and the mouth of a lion. Now, John observes that this beast is not powerful on its own. It receives power from the dragon. Remember the dragon? We were looking at the dragon in chapter 12, who is the evil one, the devil, the deceiver. So this beast receives its power from the devil. The evil one gives that beast its honor, its power, its glory, as it were, its authority. But then John notices something about the beast. It was wounded, and now it's being healed. A deadly wound is healed. And we're also told that the world admires that beast. The world worships that beast. And the world uses language which should be used for Christ. The world says to the beast, "Worthy, thou art worthy of all praise." Who is like unto the beast? But that's word and language that should be used for the Saviour, Jesus Christ. And Satan gives that beast a mouth to speak blasphemies about God, blasphemies about God's people. The angels as well are blasphemed. And this beast is given the power to fight against the church of Jesus Christ. And we're told that the beast has power over all the people of the world, every nation, every kindred, every tribe, every language is under the power of this beast. Now notice that the beast has no power over God's people, no ultimate power. Its authority, in any case, is limited, permitted authority, and it won't go far. That's the picture we're given of the beast, and we'll think about that. But then we're told about another beast, and this one is rising from the earth. And John says that this beast, unlike the other beast, has only got 2 horns, like a lamb. Looks gentle and nice like a lamb. But its voice is that of Satan, the dragon. Its appearance suggests gentleness, but its behavior shows wickedness. There's a gentleness of religious innocence, but behind it is a deadly philosophy, a deadly worldview. And you see, this beast exercises authority of the first beast and is directed by the first beast as well as the dragon. And this beast, the second beast, is different from the first one in that the second one is about religion, worship. It directs the inhabitants of the earth to worship the beast. But also this beast performs great wonders, we are told, making fire from heaven to come down to earth in the sight of all men and women. And these signs are not true works of righteousness. These are signs of deception. And the passage shows that this beast is very active. It causes the earth to worship the first beast. It performs deceptive wonders. It goes further, this beast. It persuades men and women to create an image of the first beast and to worship it. And it gives breath to that image that's created. And those who refuse to worship the beast are persecuted and are even made not to be able to buy or sell. And this beast, it causes all people to receive the mark on their right hand or on their forehead. And without this mark or without this number or without this name of the beast, you can't trade. You can't buy or sell. You can't do anything. And the vision concludes with the beast being described as 666. And it's being described as, or that number rather, is described as a number of man, of a man. What then are these 2 beasts? Let's say what they're not, first of all. They're not literal beasts. They'll never come beasts from the sea, from the earth. That's out of the question. Secondly, they are not people, or rather one individual. Many people used to think, oh, the Pope is the beast 666. No, he's not. Or maybe someone else. Or maybe he's coming in the future. Some people are saying, oh, maybe some president, some prime minister. Thirdly, the beast is not some, perhaps, man with some wonderful gifts of Satan, given of Satan. What are these two beasts then? Well, these two beasts are actually systems. Both of them are systems. The imagery John sees is clearly symbolic. Even the mark is not a literal mark. The mark of the beast is not a literal mark. No one will receive a mark of the beast on them. And people get worried. Oh, what's happening with AI? We'll have a chip in our heads and so on. We'll be forced to have a digital ID. That's the 666. No, that's not the case. This mark is not literal. This mark is the mark of unbelief. It says that this mark will be on the hand and on the forehead. That's a picture, symbolic language. The forehead, that's where your thinking is, your mind, your attitude. So your mind and attitude is that of unbelief, of the Antichrist. And John, if you remember, in his epistles, speaks of the Antichrist. He was talking about the Antichrist to come, as well as the fact that the Antichrist is already here. What did he mean? He means the spirit. In fact, he mentions it, the spirit of the Antichrist. And the spirit of the Antichrist is opposed to Jesus Christ. So when someone has the mark of the beast on their hand or forehead, it just means that in their thinking, that's the mind, the forehead, and in their works, that's the hand, in the things they do, they have the mark of the beast. Unbelief. The mark has to do with thinking and doing. There won't be a physical mark placed on you or any individual. This mark is on those who do not believe in Jesus Christ. Believers don't have that mark. Why? Because they believe in Jesus Christ. Their thinking, they have the mark of Christ. Their thinking and doing is in accordance to the Spirit of God. And so these two beasts are systems. They must be understood as forms of governance and worship. The first beast points to worldly government, and the second points to false religion, false religious authority. So there's a political and spiritual aspect being shown to us in this text. And this political and spiritual aspect has always been there from the time of Christ. There was power of the Roman Empire, and then there was spiritual rule by the Pharisees and the others. Those are the beasts. You mustn't be looking for something fantastic and strange out there. But how do we know that these beasts represent such powers? Well, the Bible tells us, both in the Old Testament and in the New, that these beasts have to do with power. We see, for instance, in Daniel chapter 7. There Daniel sees 4 beasts with features corresponding to the first beast in Revelation chapter 13. If you look at Daniel 7, actually we can even look at it now so that we're clear about it. In Daniel 7, he has a vision. In Daniel chapter 7 verse 3, and 4 great beasts came up from the sea. You see, that one beast in Revelation chapter 13, in Daniel 7 verse 3, we're told that that one beast is 4, but they're all coming from the sea. And they've all got the same characteristics as the Revelation chapter 13 beast. In Daniel chapter 7 verse 4, the first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. And in verse 5, and behold another beast, a second like a bear. And then the third one, after this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard. And then the fourth one, it was dreadful, we're told, and was diverse from all the beasts that were before it. And what does it have? 10 horns. So you see, the beast in Revelation chapter 13 is made up of all those horns. And we're told what these horns are. Also notice in Daniel chapter 7 verse 8, this beast also speaks great things like the beast of Revelation chapter 13. But let's go even further. Revelation itself helps us understand what those beasts are, especially those 2 beasts and their relationship to the dragon. In chapter 14, verse 9 to 11, we are told, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out with mixture into the cup of his indignation. And listen to this. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascended up forever and ever. And they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. In Revelation 16 verse 13, John sees 3 unclean spirits like frogs. Where are they coming out of? The mouths of the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet. You see, the second beast is the false prophet. And this shows that the dragon, the beast, and the false prophet, which is the second beast, are closely connected in their opposition to God and his people. Chapter 17 also speaks of these things, just as well as Revelation chapter 19. The beast and the false prophet are taken and cast alive into the lake of fire. Revelation 20 verse 10 shows the devil himself being cast in the same place of judgment as the beasts, the 2 beasts. So these 2 beasts are not independent powers. They operate in connection with the dragon, and they get their influence from him. What this means, dear brethren and friends, is that the devil actively uses agents. He hasn't got a body. How is he going to carry out his work? He uses agents. He uses governments. He uses false religion to propagate his doctrine of wickedness, as it were, of unrighteousness. He's always done that from time immemorial, but especially at the time of Christ. He used the government and the religious authorities to try and kill Christ, to murder Christ. He tries and uses the government. What does he do at the crucifixion of Christ? The devil uses the government again and then the church of the time, as it were, or the religious people, to crucify Christ. And that's always been the case. If you look back, the first century Christians, always governments and the religious authorities always working in tandem. Satan uses them, and they work in tandem to carry out the devil's work. That's always been the case. Go to the Reformation, the time of Martin Luther. Who were opposed to Reformation? The government and the religious authorities of the time. All throughout the ages. Come to the time when many started doubting that there was or there is a God. 19th century or even 18th century, 18th, 19th century. Who were being used to propagate this idea that perhaps there isn't a God, or rather, this God of the Bible is not actually who he is. Again, the governments and the religious authorities. Evolution at the moment. Do you know who's championing evolution? Governments and religious authorities. What about the new movement on transgenderism? Who's championing that? Governments and religious authorities. There are churches you can go into, or don't go there, but you can pass by in London. They've got flags, the so-called flags of pride in a church, even in the pulpit. Anytime you see a flag outside our church, go away, walk away, don't come here. That will never happen, by the way. Well, at least according to the trust deeds of this assembly, unless something catastrophic happens. But the point is that governments, as well as religious authorities, are used of the devil. That's the only way he can get his work done. There's no other way. He hasn't got a body to do those works. And so he uses those two systems. Now, there might be a few troubling things that we might say, but what does that mean? What about the aspect of the beast being wounded? That beast was wounded. Well, actually, when the text tells us, and I think we'll turn to it, let's just go to Revelation chapter 13. We're told in verse 3 of Revelation chapter 13, and I saw one of his heads, as it were, wounded to death. That's just saying that one aspect of governance in the world seems to be godly, seems to be going in a godly fashion. What's happened? There was a revival. There was a tempering of the government in such a way that it seemed right. There was righteousness, as it were. Because notice that it's just for a moment, and its deadly wound was healed. Deadly wound healed. That means that the government has turned away from the things of God and is back to what it was doing. This is going on even in this country. Don't be blind. God forsaken. Godly things forsaken. Christians being persecuted. I know some Christian friends who are being told in their place of work, if you don't sign here that you promote transgenderism, then you're going to lose your job. Some people have lost their jobs. They won't tell them directly, you lose your job. But there'll be this sense of persecution and warnings. You have to. One friend of mine was telling me that his manager came up to him and said, you have to attend this meeting promoting this transgenderism. And sign that you've attended. Actually, it was training. It was a training. And you have to sign. And he said, oh, but why do I have to sign? Oh, because it's equality. So he says, oh, that's good. So next week, can we have training on Christ and accepting him? The manager said, oh, we can't do that. But why? It's equality. I know that won't happen. Say, well, then it's not equality, is it? Propaganda. So I'm not signing. I'm not turning up. Oh, there might be difficulties. He says, bring them on. And the manager behind that brother's back, he signed as a forgery, isn't it? But, anyway, I don't know whether he signed, but he did whatever he did anyway, because nothing was brought up again about the issue. That brother didn't attend that training. He refused. But you can see that amount of pressure. And the devil is using these two systems. And now there's even pressure on churches. If you don't belong to these churches together, then we'll ostracize you. You're not part of us. If you don't belong in this union, this umbrella, you'll be all on your own. And when there are issues, don't come to us. Three things we can walk away with from this text. Firstly, Satan greatly influences government. He does. And how does he do that? He corrupts the government. The governments become corrupted. Even good governments become corrupted. And then, what does he do next? So he corrupts governments, and then he corrupts churches. And that's how his work is done. Through a corrupt government and a corrupt church, he gets his work to proceed. What's behind all this? His hatred of God. From the very beginning, Satan hated God, as in after he fell. And that's why he was keen on tempting Adam and Eve, keen on Abel dying, keen on trying to get rid of religion anywhere. And even before the time of, or rather in the time of Noah, even before the time of Noah, in Enoch's time, Enoch, that great man of God, even in his time there was wickedness. The devil prompting people, societies at the time. And when governments have been made in place, corrupt them. When churches have come together, corrupt them. That's his method. And he will continue to do that. And you see, through these systems, after he's corrupted them, he shapes the philosophy, the thinking. So even education is affected now. You go into an education establishment, they're not learning maths, or the 3 R's as we used to call them. Reading, writing, and arithmetic. No, they're not. They seem to be, but they're not. By and large, a lot of the schools in many parts of the world, not just this country, they're not learning. They're actually being indoctrinated. And the devil is there, pulling the strings behind the scenes. All the values and ways of life. And so you keep on hearing, oh, there are new values. And if you dare disagree, you're a bigot. Or you're not progressive. All these things are happening. Corruption of the thinking of people. And it's been true throughout history. It's evident even now. And it will continue until the Lord Jesus Christ returns. The question the devil has always asked is, did God say throughout? From the beginning, did God say? Has God said Did God say marriage is between a man and a woman? Or did God say he made them male and female? See, it's always like that. Questioning the governance of God. It's all about the hatred that the evil one has against God. And so you have human beings worshipping governments. How do we know that? Well, we see that in political parties, don't we? The government can't be wrong. And in some countries, that's taken up several notches. The government is everything. You have to worship the government. You have to agree to what the government says. You can't disagree with the government. If you disagree, you're murdered. You're killed. And in other parts and in other centuries, you have to agree with the ruling religious authority. If you don't agree with that religious authority, you get murdered. We see it even in this world today. There's some religions, you get killed if you go against that religion. Who's behind pulling the strings? The evil one. Using the same strategy. And so Satan influences governments. And that's why we mustn't be excited as Christians over which political party is coming into governance. Oh, there's a new political party. I'll vote for that one. Yeah, but who's behind it? Human beings running a system that is based on Satan's deception. And that's not to say you shouldn't vote. I'm not discouraging anyone from voting. Go ahead and vote. That's your civic duty. I'm not saying we shouldn't encourage also trying to improve society, working. We shouldn't have this attitude where we stay at home and say, the whole system is rubbish, I'm just going to stay at home and wait for Christ to come. That's what some people have done. That's a big mistake. The Lord has called us to be witnesses, to work, and so on, provide for families. But we need to be aware that these influences are there, especially regarding our children. Many parents so blind to what's going on in these institutions. You send your child off to school and you don't even ask them afterwards, what did you learn? You just make an assumption they're okay. The teachers won't tell you what they're telling the children. So you have to debrief your children every day. What did you learn today? We did this, and have a discussion with them and show them that this is not the case. There was one child who came from school and the parents asked him, what did you learn today? Oh, we learned Hail Marys, Christian parents, and all manner of things. And the parents discouraged that child, or trying to discourage them from those things. And some parents will go a step ahead and tell the school, sorry, I cannot have my children attending your religious education classes because you're teaching wrong things. And parents should take a stand, shouldn't be afraid of facing up to these institutions. It doesn't matter what you might be called. They might call you names. That's okay. But a time might come when you've got no choice, or rather you've got a choice. Either you take your child to the school or you get arrested. That time might come. See, the devil is working behind the scenes. He hates God and wants everything, as it were, to be around him. And so the corrupt governments, corrupt churches. That's why we need to guard our churches as well. Make sure that we are orthodox. Not orthodox in religion, but orthodox in our doctrine, in our understanding of the scriptures, and not going astray. Because the world, the second beast, who is the religious authority, they'll make an image of the beast and cause everyone, not a real image, not some picture, as it were, but they were working together. The government is good. Whatever the government says, and that they're already doing that, aren't they? Oh, the government have said that we should have this flag. Oh, well, let's have it. Oh, the government has said we should have this curriculum amongst our Sunday school children. Let's have it. And so on. The government deciding what should go on in the church, and the churches bow down to the government. That's what happens when you have corrupt governments and corrupt church authorities. Now, Satan greatly influences the state, corrupt governments, as well as corrupt churches. But secondly, Christ preserves and directs his churches. In all this, the church is and will be preserved. Despite what governments and religious authorities do, Christ will keep his church. That's always been the case. He will keep it. He's stronger than all these governments and religious authorities. Throughout every age, Christ has kept his church going. He has his mark on them. And they will never be led astray to these things. That's not to say his people won't be tried and persecuted. You will lose your job if you deny the beast, as it were, power. But Christ will keep you. His people may be tried and persecuted, but he will preserve them. And he will have, at the end of the day, a people standing still. The people of God will never be abandoned. That will never happen. God will make sure. But finally, our time is really running out. I wanted to say a lot more, but I don't have time. Christ will be victorious in the end. Christ and his church will be victorious, will have the final victory. I remember speaking to a brother about the worrying trends in political systems as well as religious gatherings of pandering to the world and the movements that are going on that are anti-God, that are anti-Christ. And you know what he told me? They won't win. I love that. They won't win. And it's true, they won't. They will never win. It appears sometimes as though the world, corrupt governments, corrupt religious authorities have the power and the authority. It's only for a time. Think back in the early times of the Roman Catholic Church. They had so much power over everyone almost. Kings under the power of the Roman Catholic Church. Come 1500. In the 1500s, slowly being dismantled, that power. And God and his church were victorious. You see, all these governments and religious authorities have temporary and limited authority like the beasts. They are the two beasts, limited authority. Even now. Why? Because Jesus Christ is reigning. He's on the throne. And he has the ultimate power. And so as Christians, we shouldn't be afraid of these things. These things are going to get worse and worse. Our children will have to face up, our grandchildren will have to face up to terrible things. And by the way, as the day grows nearer when Christ shall return, we shall see more and more of the two beasts and the Antichrist becoming more and more, as it were, deadly. We shall see more and more Christians being persecuted. They are in some countries already, but there'll be widespread persecution. We shall see more and more of joining together of systems, governance in the world. One time there'll be one world government. And then that will put pressure on every government to subscribe to all the things that the beast, through whom Satan works, prescribes to humanity. Before the end, we are told, and we'll see this as we go on in this book, before the end shall come, there will be great and terrible times that we've never known before. But throughout that, the Lord has the victory. Our time's up. May the Lord help us to persevere, even for his sake.